The week begins with two images that could not be more different. In Rio de Janeiro, the tropical sun glints off a green-roofed museum as Prince William hands out Earthshot awards to innovators saving the planet. In Windsor, King Charles stands before a line of honorees, among them David Beckham, pinning medals to lapels inside a quiet castle hall. Across the lawns of Royal Lodge, the cameras wait for a man who does not appear. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor remains out of sight. Before we dive in, there's something I need to share with you. Over the past few days, thousands have watched these stories unfold, but most haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, I invite you now to join us. Subscribe to Crownverse so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding royal history. The monarchy, once again, moves forward on two tracks: public purpose and private repair. On Wednesday morning, as headlines debated the future of the king's disgraced brother, the Royal Collection Trust quietly posted something remarkable: tickets. Not statements, not denials, but tickets. Passes inviting the public to walk through Buckingham Palace between 9 July and the 27th of September 2026. The caption read simply, "Plan your visit to the royal residences next year." Within hours, the post drew hundreds of hearts and exclamation marks, a collective sigh of ordinary excitement that royal life, despite its storms, continues. The gesture may seem small, but in the House of Windsor, symbolism is never accidental. While tabloids fixate on Andrew's eviction notice from Royal Lodge, the king's household is charting a different story, one of endurance, transparency, and forward rhythm. The palace is not retreating, it is opening its doors wider. The context matters. The Sovereign Grant Report for the last fiscal year revealed an additional £21.5 million in self-generated income, a record made possible by unprecedented visitor numbers during the 2024 summer opening, and by 10,735 people touring the newly refurbished East Wing. Tourism, once a ceremonial sideline, has become the financial heartbeat of royal sustainability. And now, the 2026 season extends that pulse 2 years ahead, promising continuity at a time when the family's unity feels uncertain. Inside those gilded staterooms, the monarchy presents its best face. The grand ballroom dressed in cream and gold. The long table gleaming beneath chandeliers where emperors once dined. Outside those walls, another table, metaphorical and less polished hosts, the uncomfortable discussions about Andrew's fate. According to official releases, King Charles has initiated a formal process to remove the remaining styles, titles, and honors associated with his brother. It is an act, both bureaucratic and symbolic, a slow administrative fade from His Royal Highness the Duke of York to simply Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Some outlets report that the change is already complete. Palace documents suggest the paperwork is still underway. Either way, the effect is clear: the king's patience has ended. Reports further indicate that Andrew has been asked to vacate Royal Lodge, his long-held residence near Windsor Great Park. Palace sources confirm that notice has been given. Hello magazine adds, though unconfirmed, that he is expected to relocate to a smaller property on the Sandringham estate by early 2026. If true, it would close a painful circle, from royal privilege to private tenancy under his brother's roof. Yet the king does not linger on that narrative. His diary remains full. Only days after signing those internal notices, he presided over the investiture that elevated David Beckham from football icon to knight. At the same hour, his eldest son addressed climate entrepreneurs on another continent. The choreography is deliberate, a dynasty projecting unity through motion. Observers call this Charles's forward diplomacy, the refusal to let scandal dictate tempo. Where his mother responded to crisis with stoic silence, Charles answers with momentum, announcing Buckingham Palace's 2026 summer opening while his brother's name floods headlines is not coincidence. It is strategy. The message: the institution outlasts the individual. Still, even progress casts shadows. Behind the facade of royal renewal lies a quiet human ache. At Sandringham, the estate to which Andrew may soon be confined, the winter fog drifts across the same fields where generations of monarchs have walked. It is both sanctuary and exile, a place close to the family's heart, yet far from its power. Inside the palace, planners finalize layouts for future exhibitions. The King's Gallery preparing a fashion retrospective on the late Queen's style. Running April to October 2026, architects mark dates on spreadsheets. Ticketing managers test online queues. Every spreadsheet cell, every polished railing, is an assertion that the crown's rhythm remains unbroken. Meanwhile, commentators debate the fairness of the royal reckoning. Some argue that Andrew's continued housing arrangement is leniency enough. Others see his relocation as too soft a sanction. Anti-monarchist voices claim the royal family shields its own. Loyalists insist that only within the family can discipline be understood. The truth, as usual, lies somewhere between compassion and control. For Charles, the decision is less about punishment than purification, ensuring that the public symbol of monarchy remains untarnished while keeping a brother from public disgrace's full glare. He acts, as one courtier phrased it, as king first, sibling second. The economic reality supports the necessity of such clarity. The British monarchy now operates under an informal principle of accountability to the taxpayer, every pound justified, every palace visit quantified. By forecasting 2026 visitor openings to years in advance, the Royal Collection Trust signals confidence, and perhaps subtly, a defiance of cynicism. In the ornate halls soon to reopen, guides rehearse their scripts. They speak of artistry and architecture, of gold leaf and chandeliers, not of scandal or exile. Visitors will file past portraits of monarchs who overcame rebellion, abdication, even civil war. Few will think of Andrew, and yet his absence will hover like a shadow that the tour guides do not name. The monarchy thrives on contrasts, light and darkness, ritual and reality. In the same week that the king greenlights ticket sales, headlines detail a family fracture. To the public, both stories coexist seamlessly. A royal institution that manages its brand as meticulously as its crown jewels. Still, some royal watchers wonder if the balance can hold. Can the monarchy celebrate its 2026 openings while closing doors on one of its own? Or is that, in fact, the only way it survives, by choosing continuity over comfort? The king's advisors seemed convinced. One senior source, speaking to the Times, framed it simply. The palace must look forward. The past cannot guide it anymore. In that statement lies the entire ethos of the reign so far. Restoration through movement. And movement there is. Next summer, the public will once again cross the gravel courtyard of Buckingham Palace, stepping through the grand entrance beneath the balcony from which kings and queens have waved for generations. They will pass through corridors where Charles's portraits already hang. They will stand beneath chandeliers that still glow with the electricity of the late Queen's legacy, and perhaps, without realizing it, participate in the monarchy's quiet rebranding. Somewhere on the Norfolk coast, if Holyroodhouse reporting proves true, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor will be unpacking boxes in a smaller house, still royal, but no longer regal. The walls there will be bare at first, the silence immense. Here we'll look toward a winter sky heavy with migrating geese, and perhaps understand what it means to live within the family, yet outside its circle. Meanwhile, inside the royal calendar, 2026 already gleams with appointments, palace openings, exhibitions, garden parties, charity galas. Life moves forward in measured procession. The headlines may shout drama, but the institution whispers continuity. That is, the paradox: King Charles appears willing to embrace motion as stability, transparency as defense. By selling tickets to his mother's staterooms, even as his brother loses his own residence, he reasserts control over the narrative. The monarchy is not collapsing. It is curating itself. As evening falls on London, the Buckingham Palace facade glows golden against the dusk. Behind its windows, staff draft schedules for next year's visitors. In another office, legal teams finalize the paperwork that will strip the last formal traces of ducal honor from a once favored son. Two stories unfolding in parallel, one public, one private, each defining the reign of a monarch determined to modernize through discipline. When history looks back on this moment, it may not remember the Instagram post or the exact ticket dates. It may remember, instead, a subtle turning point when the king decided that the best way to protect the monarchy was simply to keep it open. And so, the palaces will open once more, even as one door quietly closes behind Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The grandeur continues, the silence deepens, and the crown, as ever, carries on. What do you think? Is this the balance a modern monarchy must strike? Compassion within discipline, or tradition masking quiet exile?